Sally.
Thank you.
And for the benefit who might be listening online now or later, I'll go ahead and begin with a few comments for a new commissioner or commissioners. Welcome. If your experience has been anything at all along the lines of what I experienced, what I probably presume the rest of our commission experience, you probably got a notification from the county clerk.
Yes.
And maybe not so much else. So you come here and you have no idea what's going on. I mean, that's what certainly happened to me.
Well, actually, I met with David and Jim, so.
Oh, very good. I'll just say general expectations, these are informal, but this goes for all of us. I'd encourage all of us to be prepared, be on time, pay attention, ask questions, engage discussion, and exercise good judgment. We expect civility and courtesy in our interactions with the public and with each other. If you're going to be late or absent, let David and me know. If you are going to be absent and you can attend by Zoom, that's great. But being in person is much preferred for all of us. We just have better meetings that way. My goal and job as chairman is to run our meetings in an efficient, orderly process. And that mainly means trying to keep things on topic, communication things, going drift or whatnot. Depending on how many people we have in the room and how much business we have, it sort of depends on how much we emphasize things and whatnot. And it's a job you learn by doing. So you'll be an old hand in a month. And you'll know as much as us, as the rest of us. If there's anything we're doing that you understand why we're doing it, ask questions. All right. So with that, we'll move on to a roll call. Ms. Maselli?
Here. Present.
Ms. David?
Here.
Mr. Heatley? Here. And Mr. O'Brien is absent, and I am here. I don't see one online. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Okay, second.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for December 10, 2025?
I move that we approve the minutes from December 2025.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Do you have any disclosure, Vern?
Nothing from me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Ralph?
Nothing for me.
Barb? And I have nothing also. So we will move on to our public applications. And Barb, the general procedure we follow is we take a staff report, then we take questions from the applicant, then we conduct a public hearing, then we engage in discussion, and we make a decision. And that's what we'll do unless I forget to do something, whatever. So David.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. So this application is a zoning district amendment application for Skate Laramie. Josh Kaffer he's the representing Skate Laramie here. There's not an address for this property, but it's off South Kiowa Street, which is down off of Fort Sanders, just south of town. The request is to change the zoning from small lot residential to commercial for a potential recreational facility. This was sent out to the usual folks for review. We received a number of reviews back, and the Albany County Road and Bridge Department, Rob Fisher, Superintendent, noted that Kiowa Street is owned by Albany County, but it's not maintained by the Albany County Road and Bridge Department. The South Laramie Water and Sewer District, Jim Swarker, the operator, had no objections, but he did recommend contacting them to obtain a approval of a tap before they start their anticipated project. YDOT provided some comments. They requested traffic estimates, reminded developers and landowners that work in YDOT right away would need to be permitted or licensed through the YDOT District 1 maintenance folks. And then the City of Laramie also reviewed this, and they reviewed it with the City of Laramie growth plan, and they felt it was consistent with it. So yeah, so the applicant addressed the findings for this application. It was the number of plans kind of applied to this. Albany County Comprehensive Plan, the Laramie Growth Area Plan, and the Major Street Plan. Let's see here. I guess my analysis. The planning department believes that the proposed zoning district amendment generally follows the suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan, Laramie Growth Area Plan for the following reasons. Priority Growth Area 2 promotes primarily residential uses, but it also allows for small scale commercial uses. The rural commercial land use designation of the comprehensive plan supports high traffic areas. The property has direct access to future Collector Street that accesses Fort Sanders Road, which is a collector street. The comprehensive plan promotes economic development and recreational opportunities. Laramie Growth Area Plan shows the location of the property has a future land use designation of ranchette. The adjacent area to the south of the property is designated neighborhood commercial. So the zoning district amendment provides continuous land use designation of commercial through that area. The proposal addresses the required findings. It is consistent with the development pattern of the area. Nearby area includes commercial, industrial, and residential uses. It lies between an industrial area and a highway, basically. South Laramie Water and Sewer District water may be available with proper permitting. In consultation with the South Laramie Water Sewer District should occur prior to future development to ensure water needs of the use can be met. Findings of fact, findings necessary for approval, and the applicant responses referenced in this report are adopted as findings reflecting that the applicant has met the specified impacts, and the same are incorporated herein. Conclusions of law, applicant is proceeding in accordance with and is in compliance with the requirements of the Albany County zoning resolution. Staff recommendation is to approve this zoning district amendment and refer it to the commissioners with the approval recommendation. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
David, under staff response for cultural resource impacts, your first sentence reads, "This property is within the historic Fort Sanders period." What did you mean by that?
Well, that whole area was in the Fort Sanders, the old Fort Sanders area.
Okay, Rob, why don't you lead off?
Yeah, I have one question about the maps for the area, and I apologize, I'm trying these elf boards for the first time, so if I speak too loudly, please let me know.
You're fine.
Thank you. I understand the maps until I got to the map that showed the University Ag Farm, and I wasn't sure why it was included in this application.
Are you talking about the major street plan?
Was that part of it? Is that what, why it
Did I
was
put in the wrong
included?
place? Let me look. I'm looking, okay?
What page of the PDF?
That's what I'm looking for.
I think it's page 44 of the
46,
46.
yeah.
It is the.
Oh. So if it's the major street plan, it includes that area as well as
Okay, so that's the
everything
only
else.
reason.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
While we're on those, could you bring those up? I had some questions on the maps.
Okay.
And just a general comment and invite all of our members, if there's ways that the staff report can be improved, then this is an opportunity for us to give these guys some feedback. I know we all kind of, we know what we mean, but if it doesn't say that. So on these, it would be helpful if the piece of interest were identified on the maps, was my comment there. But let's start with that, with the street plan then, and show us just where is our piece. Let's make sure I plotted it correctly.
Yeah, it's a right spot. You've got it right.
I got it in the right spot. Okay.
Yep.
So it's right there at that kind of a curve.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Kiowa does not go clear through to 287.
Correct.
Okay, that's my understanding. What is the story on Kiowa? Has it got an easement or something, or what's the deal there?
So I don't know exactly how it all occurred, but it had to do with maybe what the road looked like way back when or whatever. Because I think Fort Sanders was the old highway, if I'm understanding. But somehow there was an easement, or the state had a piece of property that went across there, and then basically dead ends in that property. It was always thought that went all the way through. For years and years, that was a through street. But then a different landowner purchased that property, looked at the actual deed, or I think it is a deed. Is it an easement? I think it's deeded to the county, but it goes and it just stops there, basically at that property. Yeah, somebody went and did the research and it doesn't go through this property. So him shutting it off was okay because somebody did the research. But
Interesting.
But yeah.
So those barriers that have been set up there were just the landowner said, "This is mine and it ain't yours."
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. And that's a county road then on over to Fort Sanders.
It's a county easement or a county that we own the land, but we don't maintain the road, if that makes sense. So
That whole right of way and everything else discussion.
yeah.
All right. The previous map, the LGA map, had a couple of questions on that, and the same one. So I've got our piece. Well, I guess now that we have that kind of curve in what would be Kiowa, it's right there between the yellow and the pink.
I'd say it's between the green and the pink. Like right where my mouse is.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Okay, so have I got it in the right place? Your eyes are better than mine.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, it's right here.
Yep.
Okay, and so the pink is the suggested neighborhood commercial, but we're just over the line into the what they call rancho.
Yes.
Then what was interesting there was that green area. I mean, we're not used to thinking of wetlands and parks and things down there. Comment on that? Where did that come from? How did that get delineated? Any thoughts on?
I'm not sure I'm not sure where the consultants came up with that layer or whatever that shows that, because there's actually a drainage that runs on the other side of the road down in that commercial where it shows neighborhood commercial. And I think there is some stuff, there is actually some wetlands type area on the other side of like the railroad. And maybe up north of it, but like there's really nothing out there. It's pretty flat. I haven't really looked at the properties north too much, but this came up with the last subdivision or the subdivision that we had that's right next door.
Yeah. Or no, I actually think it's a mistake.
Well, I was out there looking at it. It's actually kind of a swale, and there's a little drainage that runs down through there. It would make a nice little open area, and it's not developed. They just saw it as kind of a low spot. It's not
Maybe
more than that.
Yeah, these properties don't get into that low spot, but yeah, back I guess
to
north
the
of there.
north,
Yes.
which I think is what that green area.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, but that has no zoning impact at this point.
Correct. Yeah.
And Vernon, when I said I think it's a mistake, I mean, I think they probably did their analysis online and shot their own foot. That's just my guess.
Well, and it's interesting because I think I looked at the National Wetlands Inventory, and it doesn't show that large of an area. I don't even know if it shows anything on that side. The floodplain doesn't run through there, so like I said, I don't know where they got the information. So, but maybe just because it's a low spot. I don't know.
I was expecting a wetland or something, but it isn't. It's just a nice little spot. Okay.
Yeah.
I just have one comment. I assume that there's no negative impact on the residential area.
No, it's already a mix of, at least in my opinion, it's already a mix of commercial, industrial, and residential.
Yeah,
So it's,
I know there's some other businesses.
yeah.
Okay.
And the cement plant is right across the street. So.
Right.
That's about right. Man, no.
Yeah, the folks that have residents out there, they know what kind of an area it is. They're pretty used to it.
That's about right.
However, if there are people in the audience that have opinions on that too, they can make that.
All right, just while we're on maps, one previous to that was another one where I want to make sure I put us in the right place. And again, it would be useful to just highlight those maybe for when this goes forward to the board.
Sure.
So
It'd be pretty easy to put a dot or something on it.
yeah,
so.
just something,
Yeah.
because otherwise the map's kind of in reference. So yeah, let's go up earlier pages.
Not this one?
Or no, I'm sorry, that is the one. So yeah, and you talked in the narrative about PGA 1 and 2. And we are right on the boundary, or I couldn't quite find my way around on that.
Joe, where are we?
Looks like part of Roger too. Look right where my mouse is.
Okay.
Can you see it on the one behind you?
Oh, that's the road, right?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's in the orange.
In the orange. Okay, and the pink is 1 and the orange is 2.
Yeah.
So what is there a story there? Why is it that the higher priority growth area is to the south of it instead of how to give you any idea how that ended up that way?
I know that these maps were based on the urban growth areas defined by the city of Laramie. So I'm not sure why they designated that. I'm guessing we just copied that, but that's a guess because this is like before. I mean, I showed up when the plan was adopted, so I'm not sure what the discussion was around it.
So in the narrative you told us about PGA 2, the fact that it's right there on the cusp. What are the story? What's the similar narrative on PGA 1? If it were in 1, what would the difference be in terms of how you analyzed it?
Well, I mean,
I'd forgotten. What do we do in 1s that we don't do in 2s?
I mean, priority growth area is the area where it can be, I mean, potentially have water and sewer. I mean, there is water in this area, obviously, and potentially be annexed into the city at some point. I mean, it's for higher growth or higher density type things. I mean, when it comes to commercial, I don't know if there's much of a difference. There's a lot of things in our comprehensive plan that aren't well defined. So I don't know.
So this, to your mind, could just as easily have been classified priority growth area 1. I mean, that would
Yeah.
And so in the criteria for 2, it says central water or sewer. Is that the same for growth of 1? Does one of
Priority growth area 1 is where there's usually water and sewer available.
Well, the distinction between water and sewer, or one or the other, is that a difference?
I'm not sure what it says specifically in there. Are you looking it up, Joe?
It just says this is an area where city services may be able to be extended efficiently. So I guess both is what that's talking about. It's PJ 1. PJ 2 is like existing water and sewer districts. So
Okay, but just so we understand it correctly, they do have potential access to South Laramie Water District. I know they'll need to get that officially, but there's no sewer out here. Is that
correct?
Right. So they would come in for a septic system or something.
Yes, I understand.
Normal process.
And to go back to your question about why priority growth area 1, priority growth area 2, this is a guess, but all of this area is pretty much developed into lots, all of the orange area, but the pink area or whatever it looks like on your screens or whatever, I believe that's more open. So maybe that's where the city was like, okay, we can develop this area because it's still in large lots. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. I mean, when you look at it, it seems obvious it's commercial. I got no objection to that. I was just trying to get the context of it. And then you look at the zoning map, and there are these tiny little lots. This guy and his neighbors are like 0.2 acres. So they're really non-conforming even to small lot residential.
Right.
And that's just a leftover from way back when.
Yep.
As usual. Okay. I think those are all the questions I had. I guess one more point on the staff report. One of the findings is to analyze how it compares to the comprehensive plan and the growth plan and the various plans, which you explain later on. At that point, number 2, your staff response is the proposal generally follows the suggestions of the Albany County Comprehensive Plan, it might be useful to expand that sentence to be more responsive to the prompt and tell us how it compares to the others.
Okay.
Which I think the answer is, yeah, it works with those as well. That would make it a little easier to understand what we got here. Just flipping through my notes here. I think we've covered it all. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I had.
Barb, what are your questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, just, I don't have any questions either. Just a point of interest, that's what we're talking about. That's actually further north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think it's what's mapped in green?
Well, it's what's mapped in green, but it's further north than it's shown on the map. Doesn't affect this property at all.
Oh, right.
And you can look at it on Google Map right here if you want.
No, I,
David, I don't have any questions. So would the applicant please step forward, Josh, and step forward with questions we might have?
Of course.
And if you have anything you'd like to say first, please go right ahead.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
We are a nonprofit. Skate Laramie is a nonprofit. We've been working in town for about 13 years. We've put a lot of work into expanding infrastructure in town, and kind of the next step for us would be to develop an indoor space where we can bring recreation inside over the winter. And so this is kind of a first step. We were lucky enough to get a donation to be able to buy this land last year, and so we're had some stuff on the docket to clear, and now we're pursuing it.
Is a 7,000-foot building big enough for that?
Yeah, it might actually be a little smaller than that, but yeah, you can get a lot with concrete, and basically the art we can make with it, you can make a nice little compact space that can serve a lot of people. So,
okay.
And just so you know, I did meet with South Laramie Water District last night, and they said it looks good. And I think we'll just need a 3/4 inch tap. So,
Barb, do you have any questions for that applicant?
So it's primarily a skateboard type facility? Is that
So we are working on a business plan right now for feasibility plus sustainability, and so particularly it would be like skateboarding, scootering. There may be some BMX, but it is pretty small for BMX. And then there would so the plan right now is a 5,000 square foot building, and that would have about 1,000 square foot that would be a shop and kind of a teen hangout zone, and just like a place to relax and warm up. That would probably be heated to like a more reasonable level, and then the rest of the skate park would be a little colder. We're looking into having kind of a passive. We really like this site because it has great southern exposure. So if we can have lots of windows and cut down our
you're gonna have
overhead.
concessions of any kind?
Yeah, we would have snacks and stuff like that, but not a commercial kitchen at this time.
Mhm. Okay. Good, and you have a marketing plan?
Yes, we're working on it. So it's
Yeah, good. Thank you.
no problem.
Anything else?
No.
We're off.
Nope, thank you.
Vern?
not at this point.
No, I don't have any questions either.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. We will open our public hearing. Is there a member of the public here which to speak on this particular proposal? Online? I don't see anyone in the room or online, so may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing.
I second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion. Ralph, why don't you lead off?
I like the idea. I see a lot of potential for giving space for learn youth. Physical activity is always good.
Vern?
Yeah, just to remind ourselves, and I don't know that I saw it in the staff report, but often there is the regulatory point of we're approving a zoning change, not a use. So some of these questions are certainly appropriate for context, but we need to remind ourselves that what we're approving here is an envelope of use, could end up being a skate facility, could be anything else that's allowed within that zoning. So I don't know, what could one of you guys maybe just give us a quick, what does that envelope of commercial zoning include that we are potentially, approving?
A lot of things. Retail type uses. The mobile home park with conditional use in there. Restaurants, professional offices. Multi-unit, yeah. Let's see. What else?
And then these guys are all looking at the land use table that you may be familiar with. It lists all of those.
Automobile stuff, like record service, repair shop. Banks.
So then just to follow that thread, so again, I'm supportive of this. Once this goes through, then a specific development comes back to you guys. And then you determine whether it's consistent with the zoning or not. What other hurdles does one have to, permitting hurdles does one go through to actually get something on the ground? It would leave us at this point, correct?
Yeah, so the zoning certificate's required, so that's where we look at the zoning setbacks and those types of requirements to make sure that fits in the land use plan, or land use table, which it does. It'll require a survey because of the size of the lots. It will also require a wastewater permit, that they'll have to make sure they can fit that on there. There's parking standards, landscaping if they apply, so all those things.
Okay, so thank you. So that's all downstream from us, but things that will happen. Okay, that was the only discussion I had, Mr. Chair.
Barb, you have anything?
Well, I think it's good for aficionados of that type of activity. And it's sort of a year-round opportunity because the parks, they have the outdoor ones. When weather's bad, you don't get to skate. So I think it's a good opportunity.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm for it also. May I have a motion from someone?
I move that we recommend to the Board of County Commissioners approve the Skate Laramie Zoning District Amendment ZDA 1125, adopting and incorporating a staff analysis, finding fact and conclusions of law as each are stated in staff report.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? In that case, we'll conduct a vote. Barb,
Aye.
Ralph,
Aye.
Vern,
Aye.
and I vote also aye. And that motion carries. So thank you. And we're good to go as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I gotta go grab my son.
Go forth and prosper.
Thanks a lot.
Well, stay for the rest of the exciting meeting.
Okay. It is time for citizen comments, and we have two citizens. Would you like to make a comment about anything?
I don't have it.
And you, sir? Y'all just here to enjoy the meeting, or either of y'all?
No, it's been a long time since I've been to one of these, so I'm just catching up.
Okay. Well, good enough. You're certainly welcome. Yeah, in that case, I thought we would do a round of introductions for our new members, in this case, one new member. So starting with staff, Joe, why don't you tell all of us who you are?
I'm Joe Wilness. I am the associate planner, and I have been here since 2020.
Yeah. And where are you from, Joe?
I am from Topeka, Kansas.
Yeah, Flatland, Topeka. Yeah. David.
Dave Gertz, planning director. Been here for close to 18 years. Came from Southeast Idaho.
And you love your job?
Love my job every day.
I'm sorry. All right. I love you, Dad. Matt?
Matt Ayers, Deputy County Attorney.
You're originally from Colorado, is that right?
Yes, that is.
Vern?
Vern Hinckley, I've been on that side of the podium for quite a number of years and have been sitting on this side for 5, I guess, coming up on 6, second term.
And by profession, you are?
Oh, I'm a professional hydrogeologist. I work water supply, groundwater, water rights, expert witness work for subdivisions, developers, a lot of work for the state attorney general's office, state engineer's office. So yeah, I'm kind of a science guy with particular emphasis on water resources.
Ralph?
Well, I've been David. I am a retired wildlife biologist, ecologist from the University of Wyoming. Originally from Israel, I came to Laramie 26 years ago via 10 years in Alaska, and I am passionate about wildlife resources and the natural environment.
And I'm Michael Platt. I'm originally from South Carolina, and I started out life as an engineer in the Army and moved here about 30 years ago. And I manage money for a living. And I've been here on the commission now for 4 years. And you are?
Me? I've been here about 5 years. We came here from, well, I say we escaped from California. I was originally born and raised in northeastern Kansas. So he and I had a little bit of a connection there. And left when I was a teenager and went to high school in Japan, and then actually came back to California. So that was where I landed before I landed in Wyoming. I'm retired. I've done a number of different things, but my last professional position was a professor at a private university in California. I'm a psychologist, industrial psychologist. I've done many different, I've taken many different roles. I've worked in healthcare and law enforcement and government. I have 26 and a half years working in government. So kind of rounded.
Yeah. You're going to bring a different perspective from any of us. That's good. I'm sure of that. All right, well, very good. We will then move on to our current planning projects. And Barb, for your benefit, we have 3 different sets of resolutions or regulations, depending on how you would term them.
Yes.
Which we've spent some time, I mean, probably the last 2 months, a fair amount of time looking at all of them. So this is well along. And hopefully we can reach a decision tonight. We don't have to, but that's the target. And here's where, you know, if you haven't been on board for the last couple months, it might be tough to know what's going on exactly, but you're free to make any comments and ask any questions you want to, and that's fine. So, David, how about showing us what you got on the Platting and Subdivision Resolution Amendments?
Okay. Okay, so these amendments, so they've been like Chair Platt has said, we've been doing through these for past few months. They focus on chapters 6 through 14. 6 starts with the standards for like road standards and some of those other standards. And then there's some other, obviously there's been some amendments throughout the entire document just to make sure that everything's consistent with the changes we're making now. And then there are a number of chapters that deal with 9 through 14. They deal specifically with mobile home parks and campgrounds. Those were taken out of this document and put into the zoning resolution where we feel they are more appropriately should be, I guess. And then, yeah, I mean, be happy to answer any questions about anything or however you guys would like to do this. This is also up for public hearing, so if there's public that wants to discuss any of this as well. Yeah, I mean, I can go through kind of the summary if you want of everything that was changed.
No, that's not necessary.
Okay.
I just want to hear from you that you're satisfied we're ready to go on this.
I'm satisfied. I'm ready to go on this.
Matt? Yeah. Okay, let's get a consensus from our colleagues. Do you all have any objections to that? how this looks as it
No.
stands.
Yeah, one point I'd like to
Absolutely.
just come back to. This is kind of a fine point. We've kicked it around enough. And I've had some conversations with Mr. Ayers, Mr. Gertz on, you want to bring that up, that piece on 3.1 where it talks about if you're within a mile of the city. My colleagues will recall that I had some concern that we had this provision about how you cannot make subdivision decisions based on comprehensive plans without those having been brought through the process of being turned into zoning regulations. As I read that piece starting at
It's not that, Joe.
It's not that?
No, we're looking at
Oh,
the clean version,
the
3.1.3.2 of the clean version.
Yeah, page 31, I'm sorry. It's section B, it's that part about,
Do you have a specific page? Do you have a page number for it?
3-1 on the clean version, I think. So I'm looking.
Oh, that's 18. 17.
Helping me with my eyesight, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate it. Yeah, so what we have here is a section that is about the requirements that the county look for. It used to be you had to have concurrence from the city on a subdivision within a mile, the so-called donut. Now it's been reduced to simply you have to ask to get their opinions and so forth. And then as this was drafted, our council took the opportunity to put in this part about no subdivision shall be required to follow a comprehensive plan. And then that's, I thought, immediately contradicted by the number A under the findings, which says you have to make sure that it's consistent with the plan. So I saw those two as contradictory. In my discussion with Mr. Ayers, he's pointed out that the previous language, with the exception of that qualification, is specific to the donut and is a direct quote from state statute. So probably we shouldn't be monkeying with it. And I had played with some amendments to try to resolve what I saw as quite a contradiction. But as we discussed it, I realized that very important point, which has been made in court cases, that we cannot make subdivision decisions based on comprehensive plans without the comprehensive plan being turned into approved zoning regulations, applies to everything. And so my most recent suggestion, which I'd like to hear Mr. Ayers' response, is that qualification really shouldn't be here because it makes it sound like it only applies to the donut, but should be global to the whole discussion. And I'd suggest that maybe we look at putting it in chapter 4, section 7A, where it talks about what our role is in our review of the subdivisions. That would, I thought, put it in a more appropriate spot and make it clear that it is appropriate to our review and our recommendations to the board. So I don't know if you'd had a chance to look at that, but did you have a response to that suggestion?
I did not see that come through.
Okay, well, I think I can summarize it, which would be to take it out of this piece because you've inserted it in the middle of otherwise quote from state statute, but to move it over where it has a more prominent role and applies much more widely than just to the donut. Sections, if I'm remembering right, chapter 4.7a is our authorization, our review authority, and what it is that we do with these things. And my suggestion is
that's true. It really comes back to the solution to this issue isn't, I guess, so much calling out that standard, that it has to be incorporated into the provisions of regulation. It's just to do it, to actually incorporate the provisions into the regulations as binding standards. The reason we made that qualifying statement in chapter 3, which was maybe 3 years ago, or no, 2 years ago, was it, I think it was part of the first half
Yeah, after that
resolutions, was
Cheyenne
because
case.
there had been quite a bit of contemporary dust-ups over the provisions of local land use plans to subdivisions. And with a large group of people taking the language of that statute, which was incorporated into the or subdivision resolution, as sort of affirmation that we have to ensure it's consistent, even though that would also be in direct violation of Wyoming Supreme Court holdings and Wyoming Statute 98301. So since that's really statutorily the only place land use plans are called out, and it's consistent with, or I guess it's applicable to that specific situation within the zoning resolution. I think that's why it's there. And I guess again, my advice would be not to necessarily codify that as a generalized statement, particularly in 7A, which is largely about procedural requirements of review. But to, I guess, just do as the law already requires, and if there's anything in a local land use plan that this commission feels is necessary to make a development standard, then let's do that and make it regulation.
Well, and why I thought it was relevant to, let's see, I'm trying to find my chapter. What did I say? Chapter 4.
Section 7.
Yeah, chapter 4, section 7. That's where it talks about what we're supposed to be doing as our authority in reviewing these things. Is where it seemed to be the most appropriate place for it. But your suggestion is that we just remain silent on that. Yeah,
because I mean, this is all stated in the affirmative, what the Planning and Zoning Commission is to do. And it's all statutory except for what we added about WDEQ concerns. So I'm not sure that it would necessarily fit
and are you sympathetic?
Naturally in there. We could, I mean, I suppose we did finally add, because I don't think it was it wasn't expressly stated previously, but we did finally say something that no subdivision permit shall be approved without, or unless it satisfies all applicable requirements and standards of this resolution for subdivisions. We have that somewhere, I think in 4.
Well, that's where evaluation by Planning and Zoning Commission was where that's where that section 7 I was referring us to seemed appropriate. And I mean, the flip side of my argument is putting it there specifically under the donut makes it sound like it only applies to the donut, which is incorrect. Is that right?
So that standard, correct. Or the standard of, or the principle of, you cannot hold development to a land use plan unless it's in, its provisions are made part of regulation. Yes, that is not exclusive to the donut. But that is also the only point in this resolution which expressly calls out local land use plans. So just in terms of subject matter, that's where.
Well, unless we moved it to evaluation by Planning and Zoning Commission, and then we called it out. I mean, that just seemed like the right home for it in terms of if I'm trying to understand what I'm called to as an either developer or as a commissioner in reviewing it.
What you're called to under the provisions of chapter 4 is just the applicable standards of this resolution. If you look at section 1 of chapter 4, so a few sections up, but still just under the general subject matter of subdivision permits, it states no subdivision permit shall be approved for an application which does not conform to the applicable requirements and standards of this resolution. So in terms of scope, that entire discussion of section 7 is confined to within the applicable standards and requirements of this resolution. The only time land use plan is mentioned anywhere is from that quotation of Wyoming statute. So while you are correct that the inapplicability of land use plans is broader conceptually than just the 1/2 mile review, it makes the most sense to actually have the conditioning language associated with where it's discussing application of consistency with comprehensive plan or land use plan.
Well, yeah, except that it's only discussing it in the context of the donuts.
That's true, but that's the only time it occurs in this regulation or entire resolution, because the idea is that if you want it to be applicable, make it just part of it, make it a standard. So I don't feel that it's necessary to create a separate call out to something that honestly should be a principle guiding every single decision of the county and land use regulation.
Well, then, all right, if you
At every point.
If you don't think it's appropriate under section 7A, my motion would be that we strike it from its current location because it isn't appropriate there, and that it implies that it's only applies to the donut. So I think that our regulations are confusing to have it there. And if it goes without saying, then it goes without saying. If it is applicable to everything, is worth saying, we should say it in a way that makes it clear that it is applicable to everything. It's just the logic of my concern.
But that's not how I read it. And I'm satisfied with it as it's shown now.
May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
What is the donut?
Well, there used to be a legislative designation around incorporated cities, a 1 mile zone where the city has substantial amount of say and influence over what can happen within that
Do you
zone.
call that a
It
donut?
was called the donut,
Oh,
and it's
because
been
it goes-
repealed.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, previously it was subdivisions that were within 1 mile of the boundaries of a city had to get concurrent approval from the county and the city council.
Okay.
But that was repealed.
Six, 7 years
6
ago.
years ago.
Well, and it was moved into an advisory role instead of a compulsory role. And
Okay.
as you might imagine, there was a lot of pushback from counties saying, wait a second, why is the city playing in our pool
Right.
when there's no jurisdiction there? All right, well, I would move that we strike the language from its current location because it's ambiguous and confusing, and it doesn't qualify in my mind as being useful regulation. In fact, is misleading. So,
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any further discussion?
would Mr. Ayers like to say anything more?
I have a request. I don't understand. I haven't been able to follow Mr. Ayers' argument. Can you simplify it? Why is it there? And why cannot it be moved? And what happens if we strike it?
Okay, it is there because this is the only place in the entire subdivision resolution which discusses land use plans at all. So the other, I guess, issue is that in the past, it has come up where the statutory language has been used for the argument that no, we can in fact use comprehensive plans or local land use plans in reviewing and approving subdivision proposals, which are in direct conflict with the statutory and case law rule that you cannot use them as standards for development unless it's actually made a regulatory standard. And
Can we take this language and move it to its own section? So add a segment below, just add another and in the same category, but another subsection with just that language that clearly states that it has nothing to do with the dome. Something like that. In every case, we will do this. And to me, it seems easy to do and less confusing. I see why you want it in there and why it's important to have it in there. But maybe to reduce confusion, we can make it its own section, subsection.
While Matt thinks about that, Vern, can I have a specific what you're striking, what your motion is to strike?
it's the first clause preceding the, well, and however. Yeah, it's so the first part of that sentence up to including however. And then it would be a capital T to the extent practical.
This,
Yeah, we strike it through the word however.
what I have highlighted?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because absent that what you've got there is a direct quote out of state statute, if I've understood this correctly.
Mhm.
Okay, and so then we're adding this qualification, and I completely agree. This is an important point, and it's one that we've come back to, and it's been litigated. And that's how we came. So I think it is such an important point that it should not be left within this discussion of the donut.
Okay, how about the section 1 or chapter 1, section 5, relationship to other resolutions or laws?
Okay,
We just carry, copy and paste everything before, however, as a second sentence to section 5.
okay. So the motion that's on the table right now would pass. and
Hold
then
on,
we would have a
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. So please repeat that. We're gonna move it to.
Section or chapter 1, section 5. Section 5 is relationship to other resolutions or laws. It says if municipal, county, state, or federal law or regulations or future county resolutions impose additional standards on land use within the unincorporated area.
So again, so we're gonna take that section, move it there.
Well, just take that first clause.
Yeah.
Copy
Vern, you're
paste.
satisfied with that?
Yeah, I'll modify my amendment to include that, to say, let's move that clause rather than striking it.
Okay,
If that's acceptable to the second, that would be my motion.
okay.
It is acceptable.
Are you comfortable with moving it to there, sir?
Yeah, I can live with it.
All right. In that case, I think we have consensus here. We do have a mineral on the table. It's been seconded, so I will call a vote on this. Rob?
Aye.
Vote. Vern?
Yes?
Barb?
Yes.
And I vote aye also, so that carries.
We had public hearing.
Did we have a public hearing for that?
We did not.
Well, no, you've just amended this, so now
Yeah,
this is
okay,
back on the
yeah.
floor.
Sounds good.
So procedurally, we're okay.
Yeah. So, Vern, we're back to you. Do you have anything else?
I do not. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Barb? Ralph?
No.
And I'm fine with what we have also. So now, conduct a public hearing.
Good.
So is there any member of the public who wishes to comment on this platting and subdivision resolution, 7 amendments? Going once, going twice, hearing, seeing none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's aye. Okay. So, Barb, at this point, what we would seek is a motion to notice it and publish it. Or just send it forward to the.
We've already published it,
All right,
so it would be a
Recommend approval
recommendation
Wait,
to the
yeah.
Board of County
Yeah.
Commissioners.
Including the amendments.
With the amendments, yeah. Whatever, as amended.
as amended.
As amended.
Okay, so may I have a motion for that?
I move we recommend this regulation forward to the full Board of County Commissioners as amended for their
Consideration.
resolution.
That's good enough. Is there a second?
I second.
Is that a motion in the proper order, gentlemen?
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
Oh,
I think so.
Or did you recommend do they need a recommendation?
Would you say that again?
okay, let's.
I didn't hear a recommendation.
I recommend that we send the amendments to the platting or to the subdivision resolution forward to the Board of County Commissioners with a recommendation that they approve it as amended.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay.
And a second?
I second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Next up, we have zoning resolution amendments for mobile home park campground standards. Again, public hearing decision.
Hi, Mr. Chair. And zoning commission members. So these are the chapters that were taken from the platting and subdivision regulation, put into the zoning resolution and amended, so they aren't exactly what was put into, or what we took out. We did made some changes. So, and these amendments would include some definitions that will go into chapter 2, amends the land use table, and then adds to chapter 5 a conditional use for mobile home park vehicles and the standards for that. And then I think another chapter 9 for conditional uses for campgrounds and standards for that. Yeah. So, and if you have any questions specifically to this, we will have to answer those.
Okay, well, my same set of questions. David, you're satisfied, it's ready to go? Matt?
Yes.
Okay, what's the consensus here among us?
I had just a couple things that caught my eye as I was going through it.
Go ahead.
And I'm sure every time you read it, you'll find something or other. The one that caught my eye just as a editorial piece is in, let's see. I'm on page 4 of the clean version. Under parking.
What page?
Page 4.
PDF page 5.
Is that on page 5 now?
Is it page
I
5?
said,
PDF page 5.
oh, yeah.
Document page
PDF 5, correct. Document page 4, parking, subparagraph little b. It says at least one parking space shall be located on each mobile home space and the remainder located in designated common parking areas. I think what we probably mean is that they have to have one on each mobile home space, but they can have others elsewhere, but they could put 2 or 3 on the space, couldn't they? As I read that, it sounded to me like you have to have any extras located somewhere else in a common parking area. Was that the intention? I'm suggesting probably not, which it should, I would think it wanted to say located on each mobile home space and the remainder may be located in designated common parking areas.
I think the word at least.
Right, but it's the remainder that I'm wondering about. This makes it sound like the remainder go in the common parking area.
But at least one means you can
Yeah.
have 2, 3.
So this is saying that you have to, in the entire development, I can't allow for 2 dedicated parking spaces per mobile home space. However, that doesn't, not each one has to be, not every single parking space has to be provided at the mobile home space. You can have 1 at the mobile home space, but then in order to meet that required number, 2 per mobile home space, then it has to be somewhere else.
Okay, no, that's fair. I was reading that differently, but that's fair. Okay. Then I just had some general questions. Were there any public comments on this?
None.
Okay. Good. I don't know, maybe we'll have some later today. And then the point is we're moving mobile home parks from conditional use to prohibited uses in all except commercial zonings. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
And all the setbacks, plot sizes, and all those are pretty standard. I mean, I didn't look at those with care, but did those all come forward from previous versions of this?
I believe so. Yeah, I think
Okay,
most of the setbacks.
It sounded pretty standard.
Yeah.
So then, it's in ag zones. I mean, what we're talking about here is kind of KOA sort of facilities, it sounds like. If I want to let people just pitch a teepee on my South 40, is that forbidden?
No, I mean, they can,
So that isn't a campground, or how does that?
well, I mean, it depends on how many.
Okay,
TVs they-
okay, a bunch of TVs.
Yeah. So then it would be a campground, yes.
If it met the definition by number of them.
Say that.
Okay, so I mean, what is it? I guess I'm just kind of looking for, okay, a campground is 3 or more campsites. So say on an ag piece of ground, if I had more than 3, if I had 3 or more, I guess it says. If I had 3 teepees, to use my analogy, that would be not permissible.
Yes, unless, I mean, if they're not renting them out, if it's not specific spaces that they have for that, if it's just a family getting together and they put, a bunch of whatever, that would be okay if it's just for a temporary amount of time. But if it's for commercial purposes and it's gonna be, the campground's gonna be there all the time, then that's a different story. It's I think it's more about the spaces and using it for commercial purposes than at that point, I guess.
Okay, and it's a conditional use, I guess, I see on the ag land. So maybe that's how I would accommodate those guys. And then there's a large section about the number of toilet facilities and so forth. So it's assumed these things will be on central water and sewer.
Not necessarily. I mean, they can use wells to provide water.
So as long as they could meet those fixture counts, they could go on individual wells.
Yeah. And that fixture count, all that is from what's currently in the regulations.
Okay, I was just trying to find a place in my home for these much lower density camping opportunities that I personally have taken advantage of many places.
Sure.
Okay, no, thank you for that context. That's all I had to share. Barb, do you have anything?
Yep. Okay.
Rob?
No.
Then how about a motion to move this forward? Excuse me. Let's have a public hearing first.
Good, I'm glad you caught it.
I don't know, maybe I need more sleep last night. No, is there any member of the public who wishes to comment on this particular set of zoning resolution amendments? Seeing no one in the room or online wishing to comment, I have a motion to close the public hearing.
Move.
Close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. And now, how about a motion to move this forward?
I move that we forward the amendments for this regulation to the county commissioners for their approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Okay, so the final one of these, David again.
There's actually two more.
Well, the final one that we're trying to move forward, perhaps that one as well. Anyway, the zoning certificate and conditional use standards here. David.
Yeah, so what we have here is these clear up some things in the zoning certificate and conditional use standards. We rename the chapter. We added some clarification to the definitions. And anything that was like land use permit, we changed to zoning certificate to be consistent with what the statutes call what we're providing to people. And then the other, I guess, the big changes that we split those out. We split zoning certificates out into those little structures and just uses as well, for the purpose of when we have somebody who wants to do something that doesn't require a structure, like, I don't know, outdoor storage for boats and RVs or something, or those types of things, or so that we can require a zoning certificate specifically for that if conditional use isn't required. So yeah, so that's what we're kind of doing here. Some cleanup, and just kind of clarification. And yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know that Mr. Hickley may have some thoughts as well. So.
Well, once again, my question is, you're satisfied these are ready to go?
Yeah, I think they're good.
Matt?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, any questions?
Okay, yeah, my comment again, just in the spirit of let's try to make these as coherent to everyone as we can as possible. And so I read through them kind of as though I'm coming to them cold. And my concern was just the explanation under expiration. And so I've talked to Mr. Gertz a little bit about how I thought it would be useful to clarify what these certificates are and what their expiration means. The concern I had is that it wasn't clear whether if it expired, if I have a certificate to do a certain thing and it says that expires in 2 years, does that mean I have to subsequently have some review to see that I'm still in compliance with my zoning and so forth? As opposed to what it means in a more expansive way is, no, you have a conditional, you have a permit to do something, and if you don't do it within 2 years, then it expires and you have to apply again. Now, I thought that the language that you supplied, Mr. Gertz, that just slightly expanded on this, I thought was an improvement over that first paragraph. If you want to bring that up, or I can recite it, but I know it's not your amendment, but I think your suggested language improves the regulations and would be happy to offer it as an amendment.
Yeah, we'll bring it up for you.
Okay. Basically, all this amendment does is it just clarifies just what this whole expiration business means. For the benefit of just the general public who's reading this and may be confused.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
And so I guess my point is that this has been in place for years. We've never had any issues, problems with it. Expiration is usually dealt with pretty well. We feel like it's pretty clear where it says it's going to expire after 2 years. To us, that means that if you have not put to use or started building a structure or whatever it is you're trying to do, then that means you have to come in and get a new permit. We have the standard below it that says that you can get an extension and talks about substantial progress, where like 50% or more of an exterior building or structure is built. I mean, you can show that something's going on. Our intent isn't necessarily to say you have a zoning certificate, you have 2 years to absolutely get everything complete on that. We just want to make sure that you're using it because we don't want to just have these zoning certificates out there forever if they're not going to use them. That's why there's expiration on it. But that being said, what we have up here is the next best thing we feel like. So.
Well, yeah, I guess I would.
So how is this different?
Well, twofold. My initial concern, which is completely separate from everything else, was that the current expiration language is really just addressed towards when you're actually building something or renovating something. This would also address the commencement of a use. If there's a use which is separate from any sort of construction or alteration of a structure. So this would then say that you have to make substantial progress on a structure or commence the use. So it addresses both of those, which is kind of in large part the impetus for these amendments was that zoning certificates under statute are required to also permit uses of land or structures. So it's not always in conjunction with building. And yeah, I guess it maybe also just says that adds a little more clarification that it's the basis of expiration is upon that not putting it to use or making substantial progress, not just a statement that it expires after 2 years.
And that clarification is precisely what I'm after.
Yeah. So you're saying you're in favor of this amended language?
I'm indifferent.
Do you favor it?
Yeah. I mean, I think if unless there's a reason not to, we should try
Do you
to
have
make
any
our
reason to oppose?
I mean, I don't have anything too big. I mean, we're just, I guess, of the mentality, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, I'm very much that view also. However, I'm not unwilling to accommodate my colleagues' views here, so.
Right, and we're not, we would be okay with this, the change.
Okay, well, how do my other colleagues feel about this amended language here?
I think it's good.
Barb?
I'm sort of indifferent to it, but I'm assuming that when people apply, they're given all the information they need and they have the responsibility for taking the steps to renew it or whatever they need to do. I don't think we need to handhold it, It's kind of I don't know that we need to change it. It's kind of like your driver's license. It's due and it's your responsibility to renew it. I mean, we don't have to draw them a picture.
Yeah, I'll also add in that it's on the very front page of the application. It's the very first thing under important notices. And it's also on the certificate that they get when it's approved. So.
Yeah, my feeling is leave it as it is. Bern, feel free to make a motion.
No, my motion is to replace the language with that which was suggested by Mr. Gersh, not meaning to assign him authorship or support. And it's a simple matter of yes, I think that the regulation is clearer to anybody reading it. And they shouldn't have to go get the interpretation. Maybe they don't get as far as actually applying for the certificate. So yeah, to Barb's point, no, we're not holding their hand, but I think our regulations should be as forthcoming as we can reasonably make them. So it's a small matter, but absent an objection to clarification, why wouldn't we clarify? So that's the substance of my motion. I guess I should have waited for a second before I leave into discussion.
Is there a second?
I say.
Okay. Well,
Any further discussion on that? We'll take a vote on this amendment. Barb?
I'm going to say nay.
Nay. Bern?
Yes,
Ronald?
Yes.
And I vote no, that's a tie.
fails on a tie.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep the clean line version.
Sure.
Any other changes, amendments, suggestions? David?
Yeah,
Did you bring that back? If you're David, if you're gonna change it, I'm gonna need to insist on the, commencement of this language.
excuse me?
Structure, or the subject.
What did you guys just do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yes, right now,
Okay.
we're with the clean line version.
Okay, I don't have anything specifically right now. So.
Okay, very good. In that case, let's conduct a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who wish to speak, or comment on this matter, online and present? Hearing and seeing none, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Now I'm looking for a motion to move this forward.
I don't know if I would word it right, but I would make a motion to move it forward to the county commissioners as written
For approval.
for approval.
Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing saying none, we'll vote. Ralph,
Aye.
Barb,
Aye.
Vern,
Aye.
and I vote aye also. So that motion carries. On to the next item. Livestock production definitions and standards. David? And just before you begin, in your mind, is this ready to go?
Is this ready to go?
Yeah,
It's up to you guys.
go for it then.
Just to give a little background on this, the reason that we've brought this standard forward, or just to define these things, is because of the statutes that have to do with subdivision standards. They require fencing for any subdivision that is surrounded by lands that can legally have cattle run at large. And where the statutes do not define what at large is, that means it can run anywhere. And so this is, I guess, a way to define and put some limitations on where livestock can be run at large. And it's basically just limiting them from running at large on like small acreage lots up to rural or ranchette, which is 5 acre, 2 acre lots. And then anything else we would just leave allowed. So by doing that, now we have some restrictions for that allows then people that are doing a subdivision within a small lot area that may be like smaller residential or rural residential. When they do a subdivision, they don't have to do the fencing requirements as the state statute says. It's just providing a little bit of relief for some of those areas. For the most part, I don't know. Honestly, a lot of the stuff is out in the area, out in the county where there's agricultural and some of that, so it won't affect any of that. But and it also just provides us a definition to which we haven't had of what livestock production is, which is something we need to do for a lot of our uses that are in our land use table, which that's a project that we are hoping to get to at some point. So any questions for that for me, I'd probably be happy to answer those. At this point, this one would be, if you're okay with this being published for a hearing, that's the next step, is a public hearing before you. So this won't be the last time you saw it.
Yeah. Barb,
I'm good.
Ralph,
I'm good.
Vern,
Nothing to add?
so am I. Matt, do you have anything to add? Joe? In case that next step, in fact, would be a motion to notice this, schedule for a public hearing.
I move that we publish this.
Joe?
That meeting will be the March meeting.
Okay. I move that we publish this for public comment schedule hearing at our regular March meeting.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye, that motion carries. Okay. So our next item is commission training discussion. I believe the last time we had any training / education.
Got one more.
Yeah, excuse me.
Meeting dates was on your.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah,
Meeting nights. All right, so typically we do second Wednesday of the month, 5 o'clock. If that works for everyone, then we can continue doing that. We do need to come up with a date for the November meeting, though. That falls on Veterans Day and the county is closed.
are we open on either of the 2 days? Bracketing that date? Tuesday or Thursday?
We are, and I guess from me and David's point of view, we would rather do the Tuesday than the Thursday if that's what you plan to do.
How would that sit with y'all?
Yeah.
I think that'd be
we can do
fine.
that.
Okay, so November 10th.
10.
Yeah. 5 o'clock still works for everyone here? All right, well, let's do that.
Cool.
So now that I'm back on track here.
Will you make a motion and approve that
Yeah,
for the dates through January 2027
yeah,
with that new date for November 10th?
yeah. So may I have a motion to approve the dates and times proposed to include the change of, or the addition of the date?
I make a motion, I make a motion to approve the dates and times for 2026, including the November change by 1 day to November 10th. And the rest of the dates to January 13th, 2027.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Very good. Okay, now. Training and education. So the last time we had any formal training was, I think, 4 years ago. I don't remember what David did, but I do remember that Matt gave us an excellent presentation. And I'm thinking with 2 new commissioners, and 4 years of time.
I've been in there.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
I was
that's
in there.
right.
Oh, really?
That was after I was appointed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 years ago.
Well, maybe so.
No, 3
maybe
years.
it's not perfect.
3 years ago.
Yeah, maybe it's 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'll stand corrected. In my mind, everything's 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But in this case, it's been 3 years ago. At any rate,
15, so.
the main point is we do have two new commissioners. Your presentation for us that you gave for legal matters, I thought was excellent. I think we could stand and have it repeated. And David, if you have any items that you would like to especially share with the new commissioners about how your office works, what you expect from us, what you like, anything that will help us do our jobs better, that'd be great. And then for my colleagues, if there are things y'all would like to have included, now's the time to say so.
Well, I visited David and is it Jim or Joe?
Joe.
Yesterday and received 2 large notebooks, which I have not had time to go through yet. Well, I should have had them all read by now. Okay. Maybe just going through and highlighting some of the, probably the most important or what stands out, you know, that you deal with more often than others that are in those notebooks. And if we have questions.
Well, one thing I will say to that, and I mean, already you can see that what we do primarily deals with 3 buckets of stuff. And the first bucket, I'm not going to say it's the most important bucket, but it probably is dealing with public applications, because that's where our resolution does in fact meet the public. And it doesn't matter what we have in the resolution if we don't deal with the public in a proper and good manner, impartial, and with some expediency. The second bucket, again, going back to what we've dealt with over the last 4 years, has in fact been dealing with resolution, and it's substantially different from what it was 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And then I'll just say the third bucket is sort of miscellaneous projects and miscellaneous items that come forward. Matt.
Bill, sorry to interject, but I think that when I developed a sort of presentation 3 years ago, it was in response to sort of particular issues that were occurring at that time or questions. So I guess from my perspective, it would be helpful to know what you would like to be addressed.
Well, in that case, do you still have your presentation?
I do.
Why don't you forward that to us? And I can make some comments. I'm sure Bernie makes some comments. I mean, anyone can make some comments. And maybe we can have a little back and forth between now and the meeting. I mean, I just sort of think a general overview of like what our legal basis is for having a planning zone commission. Maybe a little bit of our laws. I mean, I know I spoke with Bern. One thing I remember you saying, it was just a single statement stands on mine, is that we speak with one voice once we make a decision.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a few things along legal lines that you think we should know if we just don't know anything. And anything that might help you do your job better that you want us to know.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
We're talking about a special session? Is that, I mean, just.
No, we're talking about a piece that we will do at our next meeting.
Oh, at our next meeting,
Yeah.
because in the past we have scheduled a special
We've
session for
scheduled
this.
special.
So.
Yeah.
That's how, I guess, just to start out, what are we trying to
Yeah.
frame here?
Well,
A separate meeting or a,
I was not thinking in terms of a separate meeting, but
Oh, I
that's why
was.
we can't.
what's?
I was thinking separate too, because I think the content would be.
It was very, very helpful.
We did
Well,
look
and I mean, for my training, I mean, I would, need to insist that that's with an executive session in order to best be able to provide.
Well, in that
Legal
case,
advice.
we should schedule a special meeting.
That was where I assumed
Yeah.
we were headed.
Well,
And Barb kind of speaks for
Yeah.
the new side. You
Well,
can be
no,
Mr.
this
O'Brien
is
as
why
well.
we're talking about it, so we can make a good decision.
Okay.
So in that case, let's think about sometime in February, and if someone like to propose a date.
And our most critical attendees, of course, are our new members. So I don't know if we want to get too far ahead of ourselves without
We could
Mr. O'Brien.
push to March, yeah.
Well, we could do that as well. David, have you had any contact with Greg?
Yeah, I mean, he actually showed up to the building, but when he got here, he was a little bit late, and so all the doors were locked, so we didn't know, I don't think he knew where to come. So
How'd you find out?
he emailed me.
Okay.
So yeah, so he came, he just got a little bit late, and then the doors were upstairs were all locked, so.
Well, I heard something at that door, actually.
Oh, really?
It
I
was
thought
unlocked.
someone-
That was unlocked until 5:15, but I'm not sure that he knew it was there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a miss. Well, too bad.
Leave
Okay.
it at that.
Yeah. So, well, if we think in terms of March, then that means we can talk about this again for a date at our February meeting. And that should work well enough. And it'll give us time for us all to think a little bit more about what we might like. So
Yeah.
let's do that.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
just my input to that would be, maybe, as you suggested a minute ago, invite some of us who've been plowing this ground for some years now to what did we learn? I know I have a list of things that I didn't understand initially. And it really wasn't, I mean, Mr. Ayers has done a terrific job of keeping us on track in terms of the state statutes and so forth, but I'll confess doesn't catch in my civ-like mind without a context for it. So my suggestion for our new members would be mostly coming from Mr. Gershon and Joe. What is the workflow and what is the real concepts that we're talking about, like this business of comprehensive planning, zoning, and individual applications. To respond just quickly to what you said, I think the most important thing we do is the zoning resolution. Once you have established what can happen here, and somebody comes forward within those parameters, then we're just fine tuning. So the real guts of this, in my mind, are the zoning decisions. And then they're of course applied to individual permits.
And interpreting the comprehensive plan into
Yeah.
regulations.
So I think we'll spend some time on that, but we can have our roundtable.
Yeah, well, as with so many issues, we all have our different views and perspectives, and that's why there's 5 of us here for that very reason. So we have that. Okay, in that case, I think we've covered that.
So just so I understand, what we've done is we're gonna wait till our February meeting to schedule a special meeting in March.
And hopefully we'll have
Well, wasn't he gonna
Sometime in
send,
February.
he'll send something out and we'll look at it and then
Right.
talk about it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So staff updates.
Mr. Chair, the only application went forward was the Bingham zoning district amendment, and that was denied at the Board of County Commissioners stage. So
Was it or was it not unusual that we didn't get any citizen comments or public comments?
I thought that was weird because, yeah, that was the
That
difference.
Very,
I mean,
yeah, that was a new one.
usually like at least a couple people will come to ours. There might be more at the Board of County Commissioners, but where there was no public comment and then all of a sudden there was the whole neighborhood, it was very different.
Well, when-
But yeah, we thought it was unusual. So.
Yeah.
Can I ask just a Reader's Digest version, what was that project?
So the proposal was to change some zoning from agricultural to ranchette off of Two Rivers Road. It was right across the railroad tracks. If you've been on that first turn on Two Rivers Road, it's right past some residential, and then you get on the other side of the railroad tracks. And so that was denied, and then recommended for denial here, and then it was denied by the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay, thanks.
But just expanding on that briefly to your point, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
The discussion was the appropriate density for a new residential development county. It wasn't whether they have it or not, and the recommendation from here was that that was a higher density than we felt was appropriate to that location. And then it went forward to the board with our recommendation of denial on that basis. And I think most all of the comments that I heard spoke to the appropriate density of whether 5-acre lots was too small as opposed to say 10s or 20s, 30s. And I was gratified that the board sustained our recommendation on it.
The issue with the specific location was, part of it was in a floodplain
Oh,
that is not often flooded, but has flooded recently in 2010. And so to put a nice density neighborhood, to put the density they wanted, they couldn't make a nice neighborhood in the lot. If they had proposed smaller density, lower density, it would have fit well within what the surrounding looks like and the neighbors look like. So because of the location, they went over density, in our opinion.
yes.
Well, I'll add one other thing. We don't know what they're going to propose. The application was for a zoning district amendment.
Yeah.
And the next step, had that been approved, would be a subdivision application. At that point, they would present what they wanted to do, and there was a presumption they wanted to do a lot, or they could do a lot. Anyway, that's how it went. So thank you for that, David. Joe, where are enforcement standing these days?
I didn't check today, but
It's a lot still.
I'm assuming it's still about 100 active.
Bernie, you were about to say something?
Well, I was just going to invite Mr. Gertz to give us all a reminder, what's in the hopper, what's kind of in the.
I was going to ask her.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But go ahead.
No, that was my question. We typically
Read my
kind of
mind.
ask these guys at the end of our meetings to just kind of remind us what's on the front burner, what's on the back burner.
Sure. So what I'm trying to get through right now is our wastewater regulations and intergovernmental agreement. So working through that. Matt's help. Delegation agreement. What did I say?
You said intergovernmental,
Okay.
different things.
Some kind of agreement with somebody. Yeah. What's that?
Sort of.
Yeah. And then one of the projects that one of the commissioners is really interested in is lighting and updating our lighting regulations. So this is kind of a new thing that you haven't heard of yet, but I've looked at some other counties and might get something on that to you. We still have the short-term rental stuff hanging out there, which we completed the survey. I'm just doing the analysis of that. And I hope to bring something to you next month. So I'll have that. We also need to look at battery energy storage systems potentially. And then also something that's just came up recently. What are we talking about? Data centers. Right now they're allowed in commercial property.
Laramie County just approved, what's supposed to be the largest one.
A gargantuan,
So yeah.
a mega gargantuan.
So I don't know how much of that you'll see next month, but we've got a bunch of stuff we're trying.
Where was the lighting? Or what lighting were you talking about?
We have a
Overall,
lighting ordinance or regulations that we just need to tighten up a little bit. It's hard to
Applied to streets or?
so basically residential and
Residential
commercial,
lighting. Okay.
like lights that are next to, somebody's house or whatever. Just to try to keep it more on people's property and not go everywhere else. And so keep it out of people's eyes. But yeah.
It would be a good opportunity to look at effects on nocturnal animals too.
Yeah, we'll expect a study from Commissioner Ben David on that.
You will get it. There's a lot out there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think that's about it. Anything else on Mission Joe? Anything crazy that's been coming up lately? I think that's about it, unless you guys have questions or remember something we should.
Okay. Well, one thing we do have to think about is we need to have elections next month. It's called for by bylaws. I'm willing to continue serving as chairman if y'all wish me to, but anyway, we'll have elections. And
Just for chair and vice chair.
right now, we don't have a vice chair, but we're gonna get by with this meeting, it was like. Oh, yeah. This is right. Any other commissioner comments?
I do have a couple of questions. Do we have an update on the wind farm on tie siding? Anything? Nothing? Do we know what's happening?
So I get an update like once a month. They send us an update of what they're doing. Really not a whole lot. They've got a few roads out there. I think they've got a full of pad sites complete. They go out there and basically check to make sure that they're following their swab plan. Do you know what that is?
Whatever it is.
Yeah, some kind of stormwater plan or whatever. But other than that, I'm not aware of anything that's happened. They're supposed to be doing something.
Do they have a certificate expiration date?
What's that?
Do they have a certificate expiration date?
They do. I believe it's July on their application.
Oh.
It's been 5 years, I believe. So
No, that was 2021. Yeah.
which we're in 2026. Yeah.
We're in 2026.
Time flies when
Well,
you're
it
having fun.
does.
So
And another follow-up is what about the solar farm? Do we know anything about that?
what solar farm? I haven't heard anything from anybody on solar farm.
So it was approved by the city, not the county?
We haven't approved a solar farm.
I don't know anything.
I don't know. Where's it at?
The one on Monolith you're talking.
What?
The one on Monolith?
No, there was another one.
Oh.
I will ask the city. If we didn't deal with it
Yeah.
before I joined. then-
No.
Okay,
I mean, at one point there was one proposed out on the
on
Monmouth
Monmouth,
Ranch,
yeah,
but that one went away. And I haven't heard anything since. So
okay. Okay, I thought it was another one, and I'll check with the city
Yeah.
council. Thank you.
just because I don't know doesn't mean somebody's not scheming about something.
Anything else?
That was not really good.
But not horrible, thank you.
Thank you. One thing that, I might bring up in future meetings, but I'll coordinate with you guys, is revisiting our water situation in the county. We're very low on precipitation since the beginning of the water year in October, and we might need to think about it.
Rain dance, is that what you're thinking?
I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm giving a heads up that
Okay.
I might bring some of that to discussion.
Anything else?
Well, I have a pet project that I'd like to see happen.
Go ahead.
Because we moved here from out of state, and no one told us when we moved here that this was a buyer beware state. And I've seen a lot of, I'm going to call them tragedies with construction, especially out where we live. And we had some of our own that I think that there needs to be education to people moving into our area about the county doesn't necessarily require people to have a contractor's license to build. And one example I gave during my interview was we had a couple out on the ranch that from North Carolina that and shame on them, but they paid a cement contractor to pour the foundation, paid $40,000, and he never showed up. And there's been a lot of less than quality construction in some of the homes, and people have had to deal with that. And I just think it would be fair to have a pamphlet or something that we give, that real estate people even could give to people moving into the area to say, here's some things that you need to be aware of, I think it's important. I think we owe it to our consumers.
Well, just for your information, we have talked from time to time about building codes and a lot of that, what the county can resource and can't resource. I think all of the county commissioners are aware of the problem. And we're generally aware of the problem also, although I think among us, maybe we've been fortunate to not have to go through firsthand experiences. Maybe you have.
We've had firsthand experience. I mean, we were lied to about who built our house. We paid over $800,000 for the home that probably wasn't even to that standard of quality. Just last year, we had to have our entire septic system redone because we found out afterwards that the owner did it. We had to have our water line redone and our well redone because the owner did that too. And he put the water line from the house to the pump at 3 feet when it should have been at 6. And we've spent a lot of money correcting, a lot of the disasters, I'll call them, that we've had to deal with since we've lived here. And of course, we came from a state that was highly regulated, with building codes and building inspectors. And so when we moved here, the real estate people, there was no transparency about who was building the house. There was a sign that indicated there was a contractor building it, but we found out afterwards it wasn't being built by the contractor. He provided some labor, but a lot of it was the owner. And that's water under the bridge, but I'd hate to see other people coming into our areas that have to deal with that. And of course, I also recommended that we have a building inspector for the county. I mean, it doesn't have to be highly regulated necessarily, but we could avoid, a lot of those mishaps, I think.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Anything else?
Yeah, I had an update, but we've got a minute here. Could we follow up with Fred briefly? I thought we'd had discussion from our council and staff that the county hasn't got sufficient statutory authority to do much along these lines. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, not without being delegated code enforcement authority.
Delegated from?
It is the state fire marshal. who delegates that. Some larger counties do have code enforcement. We do not. And that's at least been my take, is that we are lacking in the resources, in the money to really have something like that, which we could do, because there's not really an intermediate step between adopting code and I guess what we're currently doing now, which is, it's a shortcoming of, or maybe not a shortcoming, but it's just the nature of zoning certificates, is that it's based on plans. And you can't address things that haven't happened yet at that stage. Once you get that zoning certificate, that's what you're entitled to do. If you don't do that, we're probably not going to know. Unless it's glaring, like you can immediately observe it from, a public road.
So as it stands now, to do this, and it does come up periodically, it would require a delegation agreement with the state for starters. And then you'd have to decide what your codes were, and then you'd have to hire inspectors. And so
David can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is it's all the uniform, like international building code type stuff.
Yeah, that's my understanding. There's an international building code.
Yeah,
that
which
most everyone follows.
correct. And I don't know. Like the parameters of if you're able to like pick out pieces or parts of it. I'm guessing, not.
You can.
I think it's like if you're you can.
Well, I'm speaking from just conversations with the city, but they have their codes. They adopt the codes, but then they adopt like exemptions and other things that go along with that. So it's not always have to be exactly what's in the code.
Yeah.
So they can make a few changes.
That was my understanding too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, looking at however many more full-time employees this time in Wyoming is
problematic.
yeah.
I know
May not happen.
Commissioner Jones, somewhat surprisingly, has expressed sympathy for what you're talking about. So it's not a dead letter, but yeah.
I think even just a pamphlet to, that real estate people can give out to say, here are some things you need to be aware of.
We could offer that. Can't make them.
You can't make it required, I
No.
know, but there should be transparency.
I know, like the county, the planning's webpage, and seen it in other counties as like the Code of the West. Sweetwater specifically has one that's just about like living in the red desert, and it's a warning like you may buy this parcel sight unseen. You might not even have access, things like, or water or electricity.
Well, but how many people new to the area know about the Code of the West? I didn't know it existed until yesterday.
Anyone we talk to, we try.
Anyone you talk to.
Right.
Well, they don't talk to us, they don't know.
Right. Just a thought.
The one update, Mr. Chair, that I was
please go ahead.
was going to bring forward was, what's it been? Year and a half or 2 years ago now, the city of Laramie led a contract to do a monitoring role, picking up on one of the recommendations from the Casper Aquifer Protection Plan. It's funded by the city, and they hired a consultant, but they agreed to coordinate with the county. And we had and I was kind of delegated out of this crew to be the county's representative on this kind of scoping group. We had the one meeting, and that was the last I've heard of it. So I would ask Mr. Gertsch, have you had any other contact with that project since that meeting we had out at Tri-Hydro?
I have not met with him. I'm trying to think if I was sent anything. I may have been sent. I thought they were going to send you the copy of the draft.
Well, so what I can say, what has happened, I don't think there's been any coordination with the county explicitly.
No.
the report was done in draft form, and I participated in a peer review of that report. So it's well overdue, but they're just reporting that a report in draft form has been done. It's been reviewed and it's back in the hands of the consultant, Tri-Hydro Corporation here in town. So we may be seeing the results of that within the next few months. And it laid out for the city, here are some monitoring points that we recommend, and here's what they should be sampled for and how frequent, the standard monitoring program. So that's in the works. We'll see what it looks like.
Does it include water level?
It would, yes. And they haven't shared this actual sampling plan in terms of the analytes and things that has been distributed for, as I say, peer review, which I participated in. We're just the basic skeleton of it. And I can share that we, the peer reviewers, had a lot of comments to how it should be more comprehensive. It was a bit skeletal in the version that we saw. So to be continued. But it did speak to one of the recommendations that came forward to the joint city and county out of the Aquifer Protection Plan. So.
Anything else from anyone? Okay, in that case, our next regular meeting will be February 11th here, 5 o'clock. And this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.